Hello, very good evening to you. This is Phil Griggs from Cafe Clairvoyance. Hope you guys are well out there, and welcome to the Tuesday show. And a very interesting, I think it's going to be a very engaging show with you guys out there. Interesting, I think it's going to be star-spangled. I think there's going to be cosmos stuff going on. There's going to be everything out there from the galaxy and beyond to bring through excitement through this particular show this evening. I'm joined by the wonderful Guiomar. She's going to be coming on. We're going to be talking about everything about astrology, and especially in particular time and place here now, and also very much about relationships and very much about looking at the heart, emotions, and how to manage this particular time period, and all your questions that you come through there, especially about relationships and things you guys have wanted to maybe know about. What's love life going to be like for you in the future? And how's it going to feel? How's the next sort of few months going to feel, especially on a romantic front? Yes, all this and so much more, and exciting. I mean, I'm all over it. I'm happily married, I'm going on about relationships. What am I on about? Anyway, so yes, I better give a hoot to the producer. Just to let her know. I'm teasing. Okay, here we go. So let's start with this. So here we are, guys. We're coming into a very unusual time now, aren't we? People are talking about the fifth dimension. We've had very challenging planetary activities out there this year. Are things changing? Well, we're soon going to find out. And I think, under no further ado, I think we need to introduce us a very, very special guest this evening, because I think it's going to be a very talkative, informative, galactic. I'll shut up with all the words. I'll just introduce and bring in our fabulous guest Guiomar, who's just joined us down the road. But I'll tell you what, I'm just going to find out. I bet she is sat in a nice cozy chair by the fireplace, just ready to spiel off romantic poems and all sorts from the galaxies and beyond. And yes, let's go and have a look. Just go and find out if she is there. Yes, I think she is. So, Guiomar, good. Look at that. It's amazing. How did I know such a thing? So, Guiomar, how are you?
Good. Good afternoon, or good evening, should I say?
Well, yeah, to some people it probably is good afternoon. To other people it is definitely good evening. Anyway, very, very good evening to you. Welcome to this show, which we've never done this before. And we come up with this idea that this could be quite exciting. And wow, let's give this a go. Tonya says, oh, bloody hell, this keeps cutting off. And Charlotte Salon says, hello, everyone. And so does Eleni. She wants to come on. And Sarah Louise Watson. What a very nice name. Sarah Louise Watson. What's a terrific name there. And Guiomar, I'm just going to give you a little stretch. There's it. If you can see it there, I'm just giving you a little stretch across the screen. Can you feel yourself there being stretched? There you go. So you're
Isn't
almost...
that nice?
That'll do.
Now you can see my lovely fireplace here with my fairy lights, because as a fireplace, it doesn't work.
Okay. Well,
but fairy lights do a very nice job to make that, lovely, cozy.
They do.
Fiery feeling.
They do. Especially when they go pop bang when you put the fireplace on. Don't try that at home, folks. Don't try that at home. No. Okay, so
since we're going to talk about relationships and love and stuff like that, I decided this backdrop with my nice cozy living room would be nice.
That is very nice, very nice. I've still got the door open to the cafe here, so people coming in and out. I mean, just as long as people have got a drink here, that's absolutely fine, because then magic. We could all have a very enjoyable time, and that'd be awesome. So, relationships, and you guys are just piling on in here. Thank you very much, everybody who's coming on to the show this evening. Producer says, hello, Sandra. We got Susanna wants to say hello to everyone. We've got Sandra Park wants to say hi there. Karen Holistics, she says, good evening. Hope you're all keeping well. Yeah, we're all well down this part of the world, and hope you're well up there. And as does from New York, which I think is about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, is Deanne. Very nice to see you as well. Hey, all's good now, says Tonya. Blimey, an hour? An hour's difference that took. An hour's difference. Earlier on, you were saying I'm giving up on stuff, and now an hour later, you're super happy. Well, that's great. That's nice to know. And we'll see what goes on anyway. Right, and who else wants to come in and say hello? Oh, and Guiomar does. That's nice.
Hi, everybody.
Wonderful, wonderful. And as does Francis and a few other people. Wonderful. Wonderful to see you guys. So,
Fran.
Fran, that's it. Fran, brilliant. She's joined by her gang there, looking on her thumbnail. She's joined by a gang. Fantastic. How's that? How's that for a bit of poetry? Fantastic. Okay, so motions, relationships, astrology. Oh, crikey. I mean, the heavens just give us loads of information about this subject, don't they?
Yes, it does. Yes, they do. It's so clear when you look at the stars, what's going on in relationships, and it's fascinating how we attract each other and why we come together.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's very true. I think there's a very strong point there. The other thing, and the question here is, I think people probably want to understand is that if you're an Aries, does that mean you're only compatible to Sagittarius and Leo?
No.
Yeah.
No, and I can hear my echo.
Can you? I'll just turn this down a little bit.
Okay. No, it's not and the truth is, on the one side, like Aries, if you mix Aries with Sagittarius and with Leo, maybe you can go to party with Leo, maybe you can go to hiking with the Sagittarius. But being at home, I don't think that's a good idea. But anyway, that would be just the sun sign. There's much more. There's the moon, there's Venus, there's Mars, and all the other planets, but especially these three, no? So yes. Like the sun, the sun you have is what you might find attractive on the other person. Yes. At the beginning, like if you go to a party and you see somebody and like you're in Aries, you're going to find attractive the person that looks more Aries type, right? Yep. But then the person that you're going to feel really comfortable with in the long run depends on your moon.
Absolutely. So the moon is where you want to run to, where you feel nurtured, where you feel
exactly.
Yeah, and the sun can't do that bit, really, can it? It can't. It hasn't got that function. So
no, it's flashy, it's showy. It's like, ooh, that looks nice, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And then when you start really to get like a chemistry together, you would look at Venus and Mars. That would tell us about the chemistry. Yes. But if like Venus and Mars are not that compatible or they're very different or in different pages, and it's like, well, there might not be that compatibility there because you don't find that point of connection.
Okay, so when we look at these planets here, and guys, if you know your astrology chart, absolutely fantastic. If you don't know your astrology chart, well, we've got a few people who've got readings booked already. Maybe you want to know a few bits and pieces there. But Venus, if we've got, so what we do with charts here, guys, is we get charts and we map one on top of the other, and call it a compatibility chart.
That's one way. That's one way of doing it.
Yes, one way of doing it. That's the way I was sort of taught in the past is how to do this, where you mirror it up that way and you see which angles line up and which planets seem to respond to one another. So if we're looking at a harmonious Venus-Mars, would we look at a square, an opposition, a conjunction? What would be...
No, our harmonious ideally would be like at least on the same element, the Venus, but it really depends on a lot of other factors. I mean, really, if you have like a moon Venus or a Venus Neptune aspect, like your Venus with his Neptune or moon, for example, then that creates like a very beautiful link between the two. Like there's a very beautiful feeling of love there. Also, Venus or Neptune or Moon with the North Node, for example, or
Yes.
a North Node in the fourth house or in the fifth house, that would help too. So all these aspects would be like, wow, no, that would give that wow aspect to it. But that doesn't mean that if you don't have it, that you're not going to have a good relationship. You really have to look at the sum of everything. And then there's another type of, you were talking about the synastry before, like
Yes.
putting one chart on top of the other.
Yep.
But then you have another thing that is the conjunct chart, which that takes in account the half points between the same planet on each one. So that creates a whole new chart, which would be like the chart of the relationship. And you can see that, for example, for projects or for doing things in the world, which I think is really the future of relationships, it's a lot more interesting to see this chart.
Now
It's what you two can do together. What kind of projects you can do.
That's a fascinating part when we start talking about subjects like that, about what we can do together for the future. And because sometimes I don't think, maybe, I mean, I never used to when I was younger ever think like that. It was just like here and now and just like, bzzzt. Are there fireworks here? And as you're younger, of course, you're thinking here, where's the Spartan in you? Where's the lion stuff? Is there like a serenade you do, or like a ritual before you get all passionate and like swinging from lampshades and standing there in your Tarzan outfit? Maybe I'm getting a bit carried away.
But all of that, really, I hate to pour cold water on you, but all of that, basically, it's like looking for mommy and daddy in a relationship.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
That's what we've been doing. Like what people call romantic love, you know, the Disney movie type relationship, like, oh, together for the rest of our lives and all that stuff. That's bullshit. I mean, first, to begin with, that doesn't happen in most cases. Okay.
Yeah.
So most people have more than one important relationship in their lives. So I think it's about time that we realize that that's not the right way to go. And the thing is, normally the feeling we get of very strong connection with somebody, in most cases, like I would say, like, I don't know, 95% of the cases, just to throw a number out, it's actually the feeling of an energetic bond which relates to your cellular memories and the cellular memories of your partner. That is the pain that you have in your body that you inherit from your ancestors matches the pain that your partner has in their body, and that comes from their ancestors, which means that basically what we normally do, what we call passion, is linking from our ancestors' wounds. Why does this happen? Because we have to clear that out to really be ourselves and to really connect fully with ourselves. So it makes sense, but since we don't know that, what happens is that we get into, shit happens, shit hits the fan, as my friend Fran would say.
Yes.
And then what happens is that we start getting troubles in the relationship and we don't know how to solve it. Because we can't understand the other person, why is he or she doing this? If everything was fine and now we're having a fight and what's going on? So we get all upset, we get all angry, we get all uptight, and we don't know how to process these emotions that have to come up and will always come up in relationships. And if we don't do that, oftentimes what happens is that the passion subsides, but it subsides because we're suppressing the cellular memories that come up and we're not dealing with it, which means we're not reaping the talents that come from those cellular memories, from those ancestors.
That's
and we
interesting
just don't understand relationships.
Yes, relationships, they are complicated. And I think here, just have a look here. Tonya said complicated, lol. Complicated. In a sense, it probably is. It sounds very complicated. But when I work with hypnotherapy and past life regression to release past life traumas, this is relating so much to the exact same subject and trying to understand what traumas, pain and things like this we've held on to the past, and how that person can merge with you to, I wouldn't say necessarily heal your wounds, but you're working together to a understanding or a connection with your person. I think one particular lady I was speaking to years ago, she says here that she doesn't believe in the idea of relationships because she feels here that by her own experiences that she felt that it was too much like ownership, one owning the other, one trying to control the other. So it was about one who's going to complement the other. It's complementing each other.
Yes, and I beg to differ a little bit on the
Yes,
compliment
fine.
because so basically we don't know how let's start off from the fact that we don't know how to actually have relationships. Okay? Why? Because we are acting upon the activation of cellular memories, which is ancestral trauma that
Yep.
we are unaware of. It's unconscious. So that's triggering, that gets triggered every time we have intimacy. Those cellular memories get triggered. And that's
Okay.
going to bring up emotions. And normally women tend to like feel more of the emotions, but they don't know what to do with it, and they dump it on the men. But when you activate emotions on men, what happens is they go into action. So that normally tends to bring the relationship further apart from each other because nobody's really dealing properly with that emotions from the past because they're unaware of where it comes from.
Yeah.
So what happens is a relationship drifts apart, or we establish like a way of relating based on roles. Okay, I know you're the one that provides and does this. I'm going to be the one that stays at home and cooks, for example. Or there ends up being like some sort of control, like your friend was saying, in the
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
But that's because you're not dealing with the emotions that are coming up. There's no conversation on that. It's like that's supposed to be like a bad thing because Disney says that's not supposed to happen.
And that's an
Like
interesting thing
shit
because,
happens before,
yeah.
not during the relationship. It's like relationship happens and then shit disappears. And it's the other way around. When relationships happens, shit has to come up
It does.
because
And
we have to process that because that's going to provide us with the talents we need to create the projects we're going to create in the world. Because
that's
relationships
absolutely,
or any kind
yes.
of relationship is the sole purpose of a relationship is for you to be more you. There's two, you to be more you and together to create something in the world.
Brilliant.
And
Brilliant.
in the most unconscious cases, that is children.
Okay.
Because children, if everything that you haven't processed with your partner, you're going to dump it on the child. And they're going to take care of it in their life. Or they're going to dump it on their children. And that's how
Hence,
we inherit
yes.
trauma.
Hence, there's a lot of people looking at ancestral healing at this present time because all this stuff come this
Trauma.
year.
And trauma in the body.
Yeah. All this stuff's come up this year with people
Yeah.
more so than it's ever done. Maybe it's COVID, maybe it's the fact we've been in lockdown, whatever it is, but people are bringing up these particular traumas. And working in hypnosis and working with people to release this stuff is very much exactly as we're talking about here in relationships and astrology. And it's interesting that the lady I was talking to, and I said to her, she was saying about we complement one another, but she is not a very good person to be able to discuss her own emotions. So she always had to have this separateness to exist, but didn't want to get overly connected.
Exactly.
Overly connected. So it's always about that particular element there. So I think it's interesting what you're saying. Brilliant.
Exactly. And also there's another thing that I was talking before about the mother. We're looking, what we call passion is ancestral trauma, and it's the dependency we have from our mother. So
Yes.
the relationship between mother and child is a relationship where we look at each other like this, right? It's face to face. The mother looks at the child in the eyes to see and feel what the child needs. The relationship between partners should not be a relationship on my partner knows what I need and he's going to give it to me, for example, which is what many times many women expect from this Disney movie. I mean, Disney is for kids. Doesn't that give you a clue? It's like it's wrong. It just doesn't work that way. So the expectation to be looking at your partner like, oh, we love each other. Oh, how romantic, how beautiful. We're gonna stay like this, looking at each other's eyes all the times, and like, no, that's okay at the beginning. When for those cellular memories to get activated, and when you have intimate sexual relationship, that's fine too. But the rest of the time, it's not like this relationship.
No.
Also, we're always expecting for people to look at us and recognize us and to bring whatever it is out of us. And you have to do that for yourself. And for example, when we feel mom doesn't see us and recognize us, then we look for daddy. And we want daddy to look at us in our eyes. And that doesn't happen either because the father doesn't teach you by looking at you in the eyes. The father teaches you by looking away from you, looking into the world and doing stuff in the world. And you look at him and you look at his back. And then the relationships is a side to side thing. It's not a looking at each other. It's a side to side. It's a walking together. So we're looking in the wrong direction.
I think I absolutely agree with you. Absolutely agree with you. And putting it into this concept of how we connect with each other, and I think then what we're also looking at here is, and especially as we spoke about this year, is finding yourself. Find yourself, going into yourself to find your self love, to find your balance, to find your trueness, your light, your soul. And once you feel you can stand in that lovingness, your own power, you're then there, and the partner who can join with you is there, rather than
Exactly.
one sort of supporting the other. One, yes,
Exactly.
yes. And it's interesting here the amount of people I've met this year as well who've been in relationships where they've gone for people who have got problems because they're thinking, I will fix them. I will fix them.
That's a bad idea.
Oh, yes.
Whenever you engage in, when you start a relationship, you should never have a conversation of what problems do you have now.
Yeah.
You can occasionally talk about, or mention a little bit, a few things. That's okay. It's human. We're going to do it. Or maybe say, reveal stuff at some moment further on in the relationship about your past and how you've overcome things. But if you start talking about your problems and one talks about the problems and the other one is like supporting and holding, you're
Yes.
going to end up with a mother-child relationship.
Absolutely. That's what I've seen
And
here.
that's castrating.
It's
And
not
that's castrating.
frustrating.
And
It always ends up devastating.
exactly. So if a woman starts listening to her partner's relationship, she's going to end up emasculating that person. And he's going to end up fleeing most likely. Or if a
Yes.
woman dumps her emotional problems on her partner, that is very probable that he ends up being aggressive or also fleeing because he can't take those emotions that haven't been processed.
Yes.
So we're really doing the wrong thing in relationships. Your partner is not there to fix anything for you and is not there for you to listen to any emotional shit. No, your partner and not even your friends. I mean, having friends to vomit your emotional stuff on them is not a good idea. Or being the friend who listens to other people's emotions, it's not a good idea. Each person should hold their own. And this is what this year is for. This year is for that we are learning this year to be autonomous, to be independent, to hold your own self, to take care of yourself, to be your own self. And right now we're in a position that most of us have learned to nurture and take care of ourselves a lot and have valued so much our being in ourselves thanks to this lockdown that we want to have relationships, but we don't want to sacrifice ourselves in a relationship. We don't want to be annulled by somebody else. We don't want to give our power away. We don't want to lose ourselves in a relationship. We want to still be ourselves in the relationship. So that's really the war that's going on. So we want one, but we don't want those conditions, which is what your friend said.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things, do you think that the way we're leading relationships now is very different to what it was, say, 10 years ago, 5 years ago even?
Yeah, for me, the future of relationships has absolutely nothing to do with what we've had so far. It's about really recognizing the energetic flow between the two when you start being intimate. I don't necessarily mean sexually intimate. It's intimate. Intimacy happens when you open up to share with somebody, and that could be sitting on a bus meeting somebody that you've never met before. When you open up yourself to that intimacy, you start feeling a flow of energy between the other person, and there's information being conveyed back and forth from one to another. And that information is enriching you, and that information can activate parts of you that will bring up certain emotions, like maybe the next day or whatever. And those after that, bringing up those emotions, if you process it, if you feel it and free it, then that can activate talents and that can activate projects that can be done together or not.
I think it's a lovely thing what you're saying there. And I absolutely agree with this. It sounds like a very Capricorn constructive thing when you're saying about projects going into the future. I mean, both of us being Capricorns resonate on this very easy. but actually listening to and actually seeing where people are going with this. And I think, yes, projects are one thing, could be family, it could be a business, it could be a lifestyle they choose to go and lead, whether the project is to go and travel, to go and build a bigger house, to do whatever it is, But I think having that unity there to go forwards like that, I think is tremendous.
Yeah, and it has to be creative.
Yes. Oh, I think so too. Yes.
Creative is a very wide concept, but any type of creativity, if there's no creativity in a relationship, the energy just burns up the relationship.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's a lot of energy moving when you reach that degree of intimacy.
I think as well, if you've got creativity there, creativity comes through your heart. It doesn't come through your head. So it's also if you're inspiring each other, because it doesn't even be what the other person says. It could be, oh, you just give me an idea, and what did they say? No, it's nothing. You just there at that moment. Exactly. You just gave me exactly. This inspiration to come up with this idea, and
if there's not much creativity, then what's needed is space, distance, space.
Yes.
Because if the activation is, or if there's a very, very strong energetic activation, depending on the charge, for example, lots of Scorpio or lots of Lilith, then what can happen is that you require both creativity and space.
Yes. And for some people, though, space is a brilliant adventure. They actually enjoy it. They could be over different sides of the world, but they're still connected. For other people, it's they just can't cope with it, can they?
Can't cope. Those are the dependency issues that come from not being able to sustain your emotions in your body.
Now, this particular period of time we've gone through is being in the lockdown, and now coming out of this. Well, hopefully, we're sort of slowly coming out. Maybe going back into again. Who knows? I think this has brought out a transformation in relationships about what people want compared to what it used to be.
And the way they are carrying them out. What I've observed is that, you were saying before the Tarzan suit and the sparks and everything. So it was like since the 70s, it became more and more fashionable to just eroticize just any type of situation. So you immediately jump to bed with somebody you just met. Like that has become a normal thing.
Yes.
Well, then suddenly this year things are changing, and people are not jumping into bed so quickly.
This is really fascinating. I was actually talking to a lady in the States, and she says that she's been having loads of one-night stands because that's all she wants. She's got such a busy life, she doesn't want a relationship. Then she had this one-night stand, and a guy got up in the morning and started having a conversation with her. And she said, "You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to go." She said, "No, but I like you." He's saying it, but I like you. And in the end, they've actually ended up in a relationship. They're quite happy because he insisted that, no, it's not one night stand. I thought perhaps a one night stand, but I want to talk. No, you can't talk to me. No, you've got to go. No, I want to talk.
It's funny. It's because what's happening is like the men are connecting more with their divine masculine. I mean, Mars is in Aries and it's going to be there in total for 6 months, which is a lot. For normally it's 2 months. And Mars in Aries, Mars is a symbol of masculinity, and Aries is the sign of masculinity, basically. So it's really activating the divine masculine. And what's happening is that two things are happening. One, it's like their wounds are being activated, and they're actually connecting with their feelings more.
Yeah.
And they're also like nurturing more their masculine side. They're being more nurturing, more female with their masculine side, if that makes sense. It's like they're, instead of just rushing into things, which would be more like the fight or flight response, they're going slower. The divine masculine has more to do with sustaining, with holding, with protection. So they are actually protecting more their emotions, and they're going slower, which is very interesting.
It's interesting because that's very Saturn, isn't it? It's very Saturn to protect, to slow things down. And that's where the angularity is at the moment between Mars and Saturn.
And Mars retrograde with Saturn.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, slow down. No, wait a minute. Not this way. Not this type of masculine energy. I mean, for the last 2 years, I believe it was in December 2018, when we had another Capricorn cluster, but it was Lilith in Capricorn, and I think it was also Pluto, of course, the
Yes.
Sun, Pluto, Sun, Mars, and then Lilith, Mercury, and
And there's
the
a
Moon.
powerhouse. That's right. It's a powerhouse back in 2018. And then it was earlier on, I think it went
That
back
was when
to
the
the
Me Too
90s.
movement.
Is it?
It
Sorry?
was when the Me Too movement.
Yes. Okay.
So that all that was like a battle, you know. It's a I wrote an article about it in Spanish. It's like a battleground. It's like the Game of Thrones. You have Lilith, which is I've never seen Game of Thrones, so I don't know. But the queen with the dragon, that would be that Lilith on the one hand, and then the Pluto and the Sun and the Mars with the old masculine power on the other side, and they fought in the battleground. And it's like from that point, it's like all the masculinity, like the aggressive traditional masculinity or the overpowering one, is like, shh, calm down, calm down. No, it's gonna be different. No, so it's different in all of us. So it's really translating as men being softer or slower or more holding their power in, holding their emotions. And it's almost like women are almost on being more masculine. And I think it's important that we realize, no, we got to slow down too. We have to accept the slowing down of relationships. We've been speeding them up for what, 4 decades? About 4 decades already.
Am I allowed to say this actually about women? About women, actually, because I totally agree with you regarding men. Because I feel this completely, where I'm slowing down, not because of age, not because of age or funny wrinkles in funny places, nothing like that, but because I'm just thinking differently. I'm slowing down and thinking about things. I'm actually going, let's just see how things turn out rather than just going bang, bang, bang. And yet, do you think women are becoming more opinionated and more stubborn?
Opinionated and stubborn. How would you define opinionated and
Right.
stubborn, for
Okay. Right.
example?
Opinionated. So opinionated, or for instance, they're taking a cross. They're taking a cross like this. So, for instance, saying to a particular woman, to a person, okay, let's. I've got this idea. We're going to do this, and this particular woman turns around and says, "No, that's not happening. That's not happening." It's almost like this, okay, whoa. And actually, I had to try and talk this particular lady around, not because I was trying to win the argument, but because I was trying to open up the conversation. But I just see that particular women are taking greater stands and becoming a little bit more stubborn, a bit more, I see a bit more fire coming out with certain women. And even women I met, say, a year ago, it sounds like I'm meeting loads of women. They're all clients or they're all friends or something like this. But these particular women, a year ago, they were like fragile. They were not feeling particularly strong. They're a bit vulnerable. But now they're coming out stronger. Now they're more, this energy is there. And I'm thinking, wow, fantastic. It's like they're taking their power back. And I'm thinking here, guys, whatever you're doing out there, don't take people for granted or don't think you had the power or the manipulation or whatever it is that you had before. Yes.
Yeah. For me, the way I see it, that it has to do with this energy that you're talking about, which you call opinionated. It's more like, so from the Me Too movement, no, and then North Node, I think it was a bit after that or a bit before that, came into Cancer, and that was all about nurturing and taking care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then in lockdown, we were alone with ourselves and or in family or whatever, but many people had the opportunity to really nurture themselves, especially women. So we started understanding what it's like to be calmer, to be at home, to not be running around thinking about everything. The men went to the supermarkets because it was an excuse to leave the house, to move. Men need to move. So it was them going to the supermarket instead of the women. So the women were at home and we were, nurturing ourselves and nurturing the people around us and cooking and all this stuff. So it really changed things a lot. And we developed a very good connection with ourselves, bringing down the stress, being more present in ourselves. And we said, oh my God, this is so good. This is so good. I don't want to lose this.
I must admit.
So that's what's making us be like, no, wait a minute. I don't want to lose my center because I just found it and it feels so good. I'm not going to lose it now. So what comes through as opinionated might be, or even fiery, might be our owning our feminine side so much that we use our divine masculine to say, wait a minute, I'm protecting me. I don't need any man to protect me. I'm protecting me. So here we are again with a divine masculine, but divine feminine. As the men are turning into their emotions and protecting their most vulnerable side to come up with their masculine side in a higher expression, we are actually owning our feminine side and using our masculine side to say, no, I'm protecting myself. So it's all about the divine masculine and the divine feminine coming together, which is very, very interesting. And
I think it's brilliant.
To make it really simple, so you get how this works. So the feminine side, when it's not being in its divine expression, it's when it can be our feminine and masculine and our feminine and their masculine. So it plays both ways. So the feminine side is the feeling side. So it's about just feeling, receiving, and using your body to let emotions go through you. The masculine side is about action and doing. So what happens is normally we don't know how to feel. We don't allow emotions to go through us. We immediately start doing something about it. The way it plays out as a woman inside me, for example, if I'm feeling and I'm not holding and sustaining, allowing myself to feel what I'm feeling because I'm not giving myself the space, the time to do it, then that's going to activate my masculine side in the form of my head spinning around and what do I do? What do I do? Where do I go? Who do I serve? What do I have to do? Right? So that's my masculine, that's my unbalance of my feminine masculine side. Okay. So the same thing happens outside. So if I'm not holding my emotions, my partner comes along, I dump my emotions on him in many different ways, either telling him my problems or blaming him for whatever, or making himself responsible or demanding attention or demanding anything. And that overload is going to cause the man to either fight or flee.
Yes.
So he's either going to skedaddle, or he's going to rationalize and mansplain, or he's going to be aggressive. So whenever we have these signs like too much mind or aggression, or the male isn't present, or I don't feel protected, it's because you haven't held the emotions inside you. If you do that inside you, you balance your masculine and feminine, you connect with your divine masculine and feminine, and then what are you going to find outside? The same thing.
Yes, this is it. So interesting. Now, Francis, I was saying here, do you mean more assertive and outspoken? She says. but then she says, sure, and grounded. She says,
sure and grounded. Yeah, yes. I think the assertive and outspoken is how women seem to be coming across.
Yes. But that's not a bad thing, though, because assertivity, when I speak to people about being assertive, this is a little bit about what we're saying in the past here about as we're discussing, is that sometimes to own yourself and feel and look after yourself, sometimes people are saying here, okay, well, you're just looking after you and that's it. And so, well, yes, I am, because I haven't done it before.
Exactly. And that's what we have to do. So I wouldn't talk about being, assertivity, outspoken. For me, the important thing is, it's not a question of being assertive, passive, or aggressive. It's a question of taking care of you first.
Yes.
That is fundamental. If you don't take care of you first, you're going to enter up in not very good relationships. So that's fundamental. And outspoken. I know this is referring to what you said before, but the key is communication in relationships. But communication is not about making anybody else responsible about what you feel. And it is about saying, oh, look, these emotions came up. So we can talk about emotions without making the other person responsible of what we're feeling, even though what's triggered is common between both of us. So even though it's what the other person did or what the other person made you feel, what triggers you, it's not about making the other person responsible. Like mainstream often says that you're supposed to tell the other person, like, hey, I don't like what you did because what you did made me feel this way. But I'm not 100% I don't agree with that completely, because often when you do that, you don't realize that you're not exactly taking care of yourself, and you're just dumping your emotions and the responsibility on somebody else.
Absolutely.
And that's not a good
I've got
idea.
to move this on a bit. I've got to move on a bit because we've got some other questions here. Just to read this out here, Karen Holistic says this. Could it be women were supposed to put up and shut up, same as children for years gone by, and suddenly they're realizing they can have a voice as well?
There's a part that is like that. Women a long time ago did not have a voice, but women have had a voice for a long time, and they haven't actually used it very properly, which, I mean, I get it. It makes sense. You know, after so much suppression of their voice, it comes out the other way.
Yeah.
But as I was saying before, it's more about communicating, having a conversation on what we're feeling. For example, it's like, oh, wow, guess what? Today I just woke up with this feeling, like I'm feeling really strange. It's like a sadness, like a closed up inside. Are you feeling any of that? So that what we're talking about, our sensations, our feelings, before they turn into something created by the mind.
Yeah.
And before with that mental creation, we dump it on somebody else and make somebody else responsible via blame.
Maybe we could talk about that a little bit later. In the meantime, though, we've got a couple of readings to go and do, but this is fabulous, though. I also think, Karen, I would totally understand that. And a lot of this is ancestral healing. Where we've been told to or spoken to very Victorian old principles for grandmothers and grandfathers in this particular decade, which were very controlling. Yes, they did say that, didn't they? They were very controlling. Anyway, but Tanya's written in. Thank you very much, Tanya, for your message there. She said, I'm giving up on dates. There is those dates you eat, because I love dates. Mind you, there are the other dates. They're the dates going out romantically dating. And she'd like a general reading, please, on love and relationships. So, whilst you're doing a chart there, I'm just going to have a quick look at the numbers and see what we're picking up here for Tonya, especially when we're relating to other relationships and where life is going in the future here. Now, what was interesting here is I was looking here and I thought this is a very interesting time you got. You got a life path of 5. By the 5, which is interesting here, which is all about, now this is fascinating. I love look at your chart when it comes to relationships with numerology. You're a 3-2-5. The 3 is engaging with people, and sometimes here it's part of your neuro networking is to go out there and build relationships with people and maybe create something here which is amazing. Probably you'll find here you've got amazing friendships, but then you're looking for that special one. The 2 here is like this seesaw effect of relationships, and sometimes if it's definitely not the right one, then you're going to have this energy which is going to have the seesaw effect. I like him. No, I don't. I like him. Oh, no, I'm going to drop him. But your interesting one here is, and this is one of the big things about numerology, especially your numbers here, the number 5. And I know this because I've got 5 in my chart. And one of the things I say here is I wouldn't go looking. I would just be out there. And one of the things I say to you here is if someone's right for you, let them find you, and they will do, because you're a 5 and your energy there is, in a sense, it's not offensive when I say this. It can be quite reckless or out there or crazy, or you're just going to do your own thing anyway, which is your best element, to do your own thing anyway and let people fit in with you. And how it works that way, rather than you trying to find, reverse the polarity on this, and that's quite interesting. Now you're in a personal year 4, and this is about you rebuilding yourself, healing yourself, and restructuring you. And when you find that energy, I think you'll find this to be a very, very strong time. But work on you to heal you. In the meantime, all those lovely guys out there who are looking for you, they will find you because you're not looking for them.
So, my turn?
Yep, your turn. Yep, far away.
So, Tanya.
You actually asked me on this
Scorpio.
time. You actually asked me this time. Normally you jump in. It's like, right, this is it. That's it. I agree to that. This time you asked me. Thank you. We're obviously building a better relationship here.
So Tanya's a Scorpio, and the Charlotte who will come afterwards is also a Scorpio. And Scorpio has to do with relationships as Libra. So Libra is like the sign that has to do when we actually understand the other person as a different human being to us. But Scorpio is where we get more intimate or more close. So it's funny because like being a Scorpio theoretically has to have a lot of experiences in all types of relationships, because that's what Scorpio is about, about transforming yourself in the relationship, about that transference of energy. But the moon is in Capricorn.
Ooh.
And it's an aspect with Chiron and Uranus. And so the moon with Chiron and Uranus is not very good at intimacy. So it's a sun that wants intimacy, but it's a moon that likes to go in and out.
Yes, that's why that two's there.
So the difficulty here is going to be in really finding a proper compromiso, a proper a long-term relationship, or like a really committing. That's the word, committing. Also, Lilith is in Taurus. So what happens with Lilith in Taurus, there can be a lot of codependency in that and kind of messy relationships because, okay, so you're afraid of commitment, but at the same time, you need to really hang on to people too much. So there's too much neediness in the relationship with the moon in Capricorn, with the Lilith in Taurus. There's a lot of neediness. So at the same time that you want a real deep relationship, you are afraid to commit because you're too needy because of those wounds that you have from your inner baby. And that makes it difficult. Because that can actually make you push away the relationships that you want, because you're afraid of the intimacy and of losing yourself in that intimacy. So
it's very interesting, and I sometimes find this with people, that the being scared of intimacy, and yet it could be an extraordinary feeling. Now, this is interesting. You're saying here about Tonya that she wants these particular relationships and she finds them challenging. But what if that particular relationship is offered to her? Like someone says, I'm here for you.
Yeah, so the kind of person that she would be most comfortable with, Tanya, you would be most comfortable with, you have a moon in Capricorn. So Capricorn is the sign of, it's like a father figure, it's authority, it's somebody that's stable. So that's the kind of person, at the same time, somebody that is not too emotional.
Yes.
Because if you connect with somebody more like your son Scorpio, like the guy that you like, that when you go to the party, it's the Scorpio guy. That's the bad guy, right? It's like the guy with the tattoos and the leather jacket. But the guy that you actually feel comfortable with is like the father figure. It's the boss. It's the serious guy. Also, Venus is in Virgo and Mars is in Capricorn. So again, the Mars Capricorn would make you attracted to the more. The thing is, I just remembered the Shades of Grey, the book in the movie.
Yes.
Is it Shades of Grey, no, or something like that?
Okay.
That can be very confusing. So yeah, that movie just makes things more confusing because I haven't seen it, I haven't read the book, but I think it's like the guy who's like a very successful entrepreneur, and then he's got he's like the Scorpio bad guy at the same time. No, that's not the type of guy that's good for you. So it's not both. It's not both. It's not the bad guy who's the boss. No, it's the guy who's steady, who's stable, who's secure of himself, who knows what he wants. And then you're Venus in Virgo. Venus is what you have to give yourself. It's how you have to nurture yourself. So it's about working on connecting to your body, you taking care of your body, of your needs.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Choosing what's good for you and what's not good for you. Not saying, okay, this guy's nice, whatever he does, it's okay. No. This is good, this is not good. So choose, discern, be very clear what's good for you and what's not. Because if not, you're going to get the bad guy mixed up with the good guy.
Okay, Tonya, there may be two guys around you at the moment. Two guys, you're maybe not too sure about those particular guys at the moment. But one thing they're doing here, I don't see you committed to them. You've got two cards here, outside of all the other cards here. You've got this feeling of strength and this feeling of the Emperor, which is giving you grounding. The ground is about you working on yourself. Your strength is about realizing yourself here. And it's interesting because almost pick it like neural networks, which are going to go on over the next few months around you. Those particular networks you'll make with people will, I think, is going to help you to understand exactly what you want, what you don't want. I actually go feel here, the guy that you're going to be very, very happy with will not be a younger guy. It will be an older man who does have that stability and really, I guess you could say here, complements that bit that you need and what he needs, and to that feeling of security with that Capricorn bit there, definitely. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very, very much. Okay, let's go and have a little word with Charlotte down the road. And Charlotte writes in here, she says that she'd like a love reading. She says, is there love on the horizon for me? Is there love there? And it's interesting here because where Tonya had before here, she had a personal year 4. You've actually got a life path of 4. Life path of 4 here. Hello, Charlotte. There you are. She's saying hello. Hello, hello. Anyway, so you actually got a personal year 4. Your life path is 4. A 3 and a 1. It's interesting because when there's this thing about you, I would say here, which is very independent because you've got a 3-1 to make your 4. And this one bit here is this wholeness. And whatever happens here, no one should ever try to take that 1 away, reshape it, or do anything else other than you remain your true identity. And it's powerful. It's very powerful here. It's not a fact here, and I think very much part of this show here, it's not about leaning too much towards the other person where you're giving too much to them. Or you're going the other way here, they're giving too much to you. It's got to be this independence, this strength about yourself. And the 4 here is interesting here. There's this big thing. Yes, Lol, I'm very independent. And it's having that independence as a strength. It's part of your natural makeup here. But your 3, though, is independence, it's socialness, it's about being out there. And sometimes here, I would say the difficulty here is, and it may be a bit cheeky saying this here, but it's almost like saying, who's a nice partner? Well, he's nice and maybe he's nice too. Or which one do I go for? And if you went for one of them, you would think, yeah, this is nice. Then a little bit further down the road, say, yeah, but what about him and him? And it's not because you're a bit crazy in love. It's because you've got a lovely 3 energy that needs someone to respond back to you and keep you very mentally stimulated. Very mentally stimulated. And then your 4 is just like, I've met the most coziest partner going, and we just go, click. Okay, let's go down the road. Guiomar's nodding her head. Oh, we got numerology and astrology is in combination.
Yeah, so Charlotte's also a Scorpio. So she also likes the bad guy, but Mars is in Leo, so the bad guy has to be like a disc jockey or something like that.
Oh dear Lord!
You know, somebody or an actor or somebody who's very very public, very visible, no, very attractive or very flashy or something, no, like that.
Yeah.
An actor, a DJ. So that's the kind of guy she likes, with the Sun in Scorpio, with the Mars in Leo. But then the moon, your moon is in Virgo. So again, same as before, because moon was in Capricorn, this is Virgo, it's an earth sign. So the moon in Virgo feels comfortable with somebody that is aligned, that is tidy, that has everything in their place.
Sensible comes to mind. Sensible.
Yeah, sensible, nice and orderly. So that is very important for you. That's your comfort zone. At the most, somebody that is very earthy. Another moon, an earth sign, no, like yes. Moon Capricorn, Moon Taurus. So somebody who's very practical, pragmatic. That's good for you. The thing is that if you like a Scorpio Leo guy who's works during the night and that's not very practical, because that'll take you out of your order, out of your routine, and that's not good for you. It's not good for you to be taken out of your routine. So, and then the other hand, when you were talking about being your independency, you have your Venus is in Sagittarius. So and the thing is, normally when the Venus we have, especially in women, we tend to instead of give it to ourselves, we ask for it. So to have a Venus in Sagittarius is to demand that the other person give you the opportunity to travel, the ability to expand your mind, maybe through talking, because Venus is with Mercury. So it's like, oh, I need to have conversation with him, because if he doesn't talk to me, and if he doesn't, by talking to me, telling me all his stories, doesn't take me to some imaginary place, then I'm not satisfied or fulfilled. No, it's about, you're the one that has to give that to yourself. So you have to go study, you have to go travel by yourself, you have to go or have the initiative to organize a trip or something like that, or study or expand your mind in some fashion, but you have to do it for yourself. You have to search it for yourself, not expect somebody to give that to you. So that's where we often make mistakes. We expect other people to give us our Venus, and that takes us out of our center. Because we don't get satisfied because the other person is a different human being.
The other thing, I agree with this. And especially with the earthy, practical stuff there, it's almost like finding someone who's mentally witty. Mentally witty makes you laugh, keeps you in that alignment there, because they're a lot of earth people are very, very funny people. In fact, I think a lot of comedians are earth signs, and musicians, and they're not. Everybody thinks they're water signs or something, an air sign. Yeah, probably a lot of them are, but and I know a lot of comedians who are earth sign people. And it is interesting here. I just get to feel like someone who's constructive for you. Like, shall we make a bridge? Go and build a bridge somewhere, and it's always like, this is so exciting. I've always wanted to build a bridge. Where are we going to build it?
Yeah.
We'll find somewhere. We just build a bridge. It's like, wow, a
but
project, a plan.
But it's important, Charlotte, that you be proactive, because your South Node is in Pisces, North Node is in Virgo. So South Node in Pisces, if you just stay and do nothing, not a good idea. It's going to make you be very anxious, very nervous, and you're not going to feel well.
No, that Virgo bit needs to be proactive and not to be scared about coming forwards to be active and taking a lead and taking an active role there. But Charlotte, it's very interesting. I really get a buzzy energy around you now. I really get a buzzy energy that you're.
Because she's a Sun conjunct Uranus.
Yes, no wonder you're buzzy. Buzzy, buzz. It's all right. Just if you want to put a lamp on, just get Charlotte to hold on to the plug. Bzzz, it starts shining away. Anyway, so yes, there's a real buzzy energy here, and also your cards here are very, very constructive. But you come out of an old relationship and you're feeling, oh God, I feel a bit down, dumped, and a bit heavy going. But very quickly you pick yourself up, because this energy is about you working on yourself. When you do so here, you'll get this feeling of like, actually, I'm quite practically looking after myself. My life is getting into a secure place. And then you're sort of thinking, here we've got this lovely Queen of Coins. Beautiful, because you're probably finding yourself here that you're finding people who are quite interested in you, but you're almost like getting this as like bowls down a bowling alley, thinking, well, these three are coming towards me. I think I'll just go knock them down. Off goes your ball and padonk. Goodbye. Because they're not quite the
ones. That's Sun Uranus.
That's not quite the ones. But someone who can, I love that Sun Uranus energy, because there's also that person who just comes up to you and just says something totally stupid and silly, but it's so funny, it's engaging straight away. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Good. I think it's lovely. Right. Well, we've come to 9 o'clock now. This was absolutely so fabulous, so enjoyable. I think we've got to go and do something a little bit later again on astrology. In fact, we'll tell people a little bit later on in the year something we've got planned for next year. But I think this was just fun, just so much fun talking about all this. And I think that your experience and study and analysis of relationships is extraordinary, by the way you do it in astrology. So I've never heard of another astrologer talk the way you do in this particular way. And I met some famous ones and they talk about things in different ways, but you've got a very unique concept, especially when it comes to ancestry and the cellular memories and things we've got to deal with and bring up and deal with from the past. Is huge, absolutely huge. So yes, I think it's an enormous thing. So guys, thank you so much everyone who's joined in. What I'm going to say, So, Guiomar, I think it's been an absolutely fabulous show. And guess what, guys? Guess what, guys? Guess what I've got to tell you? Guess what's coming on tomorrow morning? Hang on, I'm just going to sort something out here. My screen went wonky there. Yes, guess what's coming tomorrow morning? This. So you're thinking, but we want to talk more. We want to talk more about this. Well, guess what's coming up tomorrow morning? Yes, tomorrow at 11 o'clock Spain time, 10 o'clock UK, we're back. We're going to do the normal astrology show. And this is great, but this has been wonderful, wonderful sharing the evening with you, talking about the stars and having a great time here. But I think it's that, as much as we talk about astrology, is that psychology and understanding what we've got to go of. Magic.
Yeah, we got to do it more often, Phil.
Oh, I think so. Yes, because I'm even though I host the show, I've learned so much by the guests coming on the show, but you especially, I think, is awesome. So, guys, thank you. Guys out there, thank you very, very much indeed.
Thank you.
Absolutely awesome. Don't forget burgers. That's it. Hearts and burgers. Veggie burgers, though. Don't forget, they've got to be veggie. Okay. Goodbye, and see you guys tomorrow morning at 11.